So here we are in the guest bedroom where I'm going to start doing all of the first coat of mud and tape. I've already applied the silver set to the big cracks, so that's all done. Now it's time to mud and tape. Let's get it done.
Here's to the good days, here's to the sorrows. If this is a mistake, I know about tomorrow. I don't wanna fight no more, cause I don't feel the need no more, no. Just wanna make it stop. Maybe it's something in the water, or maybe we just hit the end of the road. Right now it doesn't even matter. It's too late not to let it go. And that's why I wish you the best and say goodbye. You start to get dressed and then we cry, cause we both know it's gonna hurt, but not as much as this does. We had a good run, don't say we didn't. I was your first love, and you were my first one. Cheers to all the memories, the venom and the remedies, yeah. Promise I won't forget, yeah. Maybe it's something in the water, yeah. Or maybe we just hit the end of the road. Right now it doesn't even matter.
Now that we have all of the drywall up, plastered twice, and we have the third coat of topping on, we're going to go ahead and sand this up so we can start painting this room. Once the room's painted, we'll finally be able to put the flooring down in this room.
It's too late not to let it go, and that's why I wish you the best and say goodbye. You start to get dressed and then we cry, cause we both know it's gonna hurt, but not as much as this does. So baby, bye. It's for the best and you know why. You gotta leave me here tonight before we make this even worse. It's gonna hurt even more than this does. We gave it all we had. It's time to say bye, baby, bye.
So once again, before we put down our vinyl flooring, we're going to go over all of our seams with a sander, looking for high spots, looking for swollen OSB, get that sanded down nice and smooth so we don't have any humps and bumps or kind of pivot points in our flooring.
I'll be, you'll be, yeah, we'll be fine. So let's call it a night, and that's why I wish you the best and say goodbye. We start to get dressed and then we cry, cause we both know it's gonna hurt, but not as much as this does. So baby, bye. It's for the best and you know why. You gotta leave me here right now before we make this even worse. It's gonna hurt even more than this does. Ooh,
So we've got our flooring done, and now it's time to trim out the windows and doors. So we're going to start with this window here. We'll start with our casing and then trim around the outside just like we did in some of our other videos.
Six and a half.
66 and a quarter. All right, so I'm gonna come in 3/4 of an inch on each side. And then cut out that notch. Then we'll slide our notch we just cut right into here and attach it.
Is this for me or for you?
For me.
Looks so pretty. That looks good.
There,
Okay.
good.
Yep.
No belly.
No, it doesn't flip one. No. Oh, it looks so awesome. I love this stuff.
Got a little boat to it.
Just a little. Nothing 50 nails can't fix.
Now we have another beautiful window all trimmed out. It's so nice to not see the rough install of the window any longer. It really puts a finishing touch on the room.
Okay.
I'm gonna put my hand in the corner first.
Okay.
Okay. How tight are you? Now today we are going to be wiring in some outlets. Now I am not an electrician, so take this as what I'm doing and not necessarily what you should do. But I found that this is very safe, very effective, and I think it's the best way to wire in any outlet. So what we have here is we have a double gang box. So we're gonna have 2 outlets in this box, but we only have 1 wire. So this is a dead end circuit, only 1 wire coming in. First thing we're gonna do is make sure that there's no power on this wire. I've gone and I've turned off what I'm pretty sure is the breaker, but always good to make sure that it's not live before you start stripping wires. So we're gonna take our non-contact voltage tester, turn it on, hold it near the black wire, which is our hot wire. If we had more wires in the box, we would check all of them. Nothing there. All right. So next thing we have to do is we have to strip off the insulation around the wires. So this outer jacket holds the 3 wires together. To do that, we're gonna use our Klein wire stripper. It has a nice little blade right in there that's gonna strip back that wire. It's a pretty slick little tool. Opens that right up. And we'll take a blade, make sure they're not cutting the wires, cut off all that insulation. Now we have our ground, our hot, and our neutral. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to strip back our wires using the appropriate size stripper. I like to cut them back about 3/4 of an inch to an inch. Then we always roll our blacks so the loop is up. Roll our neutrals so the loop is down. And I will show you why that's key in just a few minutes. So now that we have our neutral rolled down and our hot rolled up, we're gonna make up our ground wire. Now, because we're doing 2 outlets in this box, we need to have 2 ground connections. So we're gonna take another piece of bare copper wire, put a little leg in it, and we're gonna go ahead and attach it to this wire through the clever use of twisting. Now you might be thinking, boy, you really gotta have a wire nut on that, because what if that wire touches something? Well, it's a bare copper wire. If it touches something, you'll know it. Oh, we get a couple good twists on that. Now we've got two ground wires that are connected. We can tuck that back into the box a little bit. And now our next step is to make up our outlet pair. So making up outlets can be pretty hard on the body. You're down on the ground, so I like to make up my outlet pairs while standing up. So there's a couple things that you need when making up an outlet pair. First, you need 2 outlets, 1 good screwdriver, a good pair of wire strippers, and 2 small jumper wires. So we're gonna take our jumper wires and we're gonna strip them back. The neutral and the hot, doesn't matter which one you do first. Strip them back about 3/4 of an inch to an inch on each end of those wires. So now these outlets are 15 amp outlets, and they have what's called the backstab feature, where you can push your neutral wire right in there. That meets code, but it meets minimum code. And I always like to go a little bit above and beyond. I don't really trust that spring tension in there. All that is just a spring that holds that wire tightly in place. And with the heating and cooling of this circuit, that spring can fatigue over time and cause a loose connection. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use the side screws for all of our connections today. So to do that, we're just gonna use our little hole in our strippers, make our bends on each side of each wire. And then you always want to go with the rotation of the screw. So the screw is going to rotate clockwise. So we're going to hook that loop on clockwise. When I am joining outlets, I always like to stay consistent as to which one is the hot and which one is the traveler. So we're going to hook these on white to silver, black to brass, black to brass. Get those screwed on nice and tight. Now this is gonna be our second outlet, or our true dead end. So we're gonna go ahead, tighten these other side connectors that we're not using. That way you don't run the risk of them touching anything. Okay, so we have our dead end outlet wired up. We've got our neutral on the silver, our hot on the brass. Now we're going to go ahead and go over to our starting outlet. We're going to hook up to the bottom again. And then over on the other side, we'll hook up our hot leg to our bottom screw. And then we just have to bend those around, just like that. Now we're ready to install it down in the ground. Now that we're back here on the ground, you can see why we rolled the white down and the black up, because we want those to go with the roll of the screw. So we'll go ahead and hook up our neutral to the neutral side of our first outlet in the chain, nice and tight. Then we're gonna hook up our hot to the hot side of the first outlet in our chain. And we'll screw that down nice and tight as well. Now we've got our hot and neutral installed. Now we're going to install our ground to each outlet. So we've extended our ground to reach both outlets. Just kind of push our wires back in there so we've got enough room. Hook our ground wire on our ground screw. So one thing we want to do is, I didn't get that wire all the way into the screw. We want to make sure that the wire goes all the way under our screw. That way we have the best contact. Get that nice and tight. We're going to grab our next ground wire. Get that nice and tight. Now our outlet is all wired up. We've got power on the hot side, neutral on the neutral side. You always know also white to silver, but you can also tell because the neutral side is always on the ground side. Next thing we're going to do is going to go ahead and install these outlets in the box. You can tell that our box is a little bit recessed here, so we're going to use some spacers. And these are just the ideal box spacers that we're going to use, and it looks like we're going to be about 2 to 3 spacers. So we just grab our spacers and they just fold together. And they click together kind of like Legos. Put that on the bottom of this one. We're going to do 3 on the other one as well. Looks like we're going to need 3 on the top too. We're going to grab our drill, set it on our lowest torque setting. in there. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab our outlet cover and just do a test fit to make sure these are lined up properly. So this outlet needs to move over just a little bit before we tension it. So without those ideal spacers, you would be relying on the drywall to hold these in and they would get very loose. Okay, that looks pretty good now. Now, because this outlet is on an exterior wall, we've done spray foam around the box to stop any drafts. We're also going to use these little insulators that will stop any drafts from coming around the outlet. Just like that. Just like that. So now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and turn on this breaker and double check to make sure our polarity is correct. All right, we've got the breaker turned back on. Now we're going to use our outlet tester. We want to see 2 amber lights, no red lights. So we're going to plug it into this outlet. So we have 2 amber lights. Plug it into this outlet. 2 amber lights. Both outlets are wired correctly. All right, we'll see you on the next one.
Here's to the good days, here's to the sorrows. If this is a mistake, I know about tomorrow. I don't wanna fight no more, cause I don't feel the need no more, no. Just wanna make it stop. Maybe it's something in the water, or maybe we just hit the end of the